So, I like card games. Do you guys like card games?
Yeah, I like card games.
I actually do like card games.
Yeah, good. Then let's talk about card games. So, hey everybody, this is Neni Line. I'm being joined by...
I'm Triple, hi.
I'm Randy. Hi as well. Is that how you do it?
Yes,
Nailed
that's how you do things. And today we would like to talk about card games, because this is something I really want to do a video about, and it's boring to talk about card games on your own. Because card games are something that you do together. Never do card games on your own, kids.
Unless you're playing solitaire.
Why would anybody play solitaire in this day and age? I mean...
Oh, it is a card game, technically.
Yeah, but we're talking about trading card games, you know, the kind with the images and the life points and the meta and the leagues.
Oh, and the Shadow Realm and Egyptian gods. I see.
And betting coins.
Yes.
Honestly, we should probably get into the meat of things. So yeah, the three of us, we are all really big fans of trading card games. We like to play against each other, and at least for me it's like this, that on Friday evenings I usually go out and play Weiß-Schwarz in a local tabletop gaming center. So honestly, I thought it would be really interesting to talk about what types of card games we play, why we play them, the appeal of card games, the issues with balancing card games, the types of decks we play and whether those are actually practical, and what kind of card games we would like to see in the future, with the last question actually being an addition that Triple suggested.
I'm helping.
Yeah, you're very helpful.
Yeah, that is the whole order. Yes, true. Though you might as well know what card games we actually play if you watched the tournament that Neni hosted.
Yes, the 3 hours tournament that turned into 6 hours because I can't calculate game time.
It's hard. It's hard.
But yeah, we 1 week, a little bit more than 1 week ago, we had a small trading card game tournament where we played 4 different games against each other. So yeah, obviously we all play those games, though for some of us, it wasn't that we were all equally experienced in all of these games. So I guess I'll make the start. So the first question that we're asking is, what kinds of card games do we play and why? I'll make the start and talk about the card games I play. Well, when I was a kid, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Pokémon trading card game, because those were the obvious choices, and mostly because there were video games of those out, and I played those. And usually these video games were extremely effective in teaching you how to actually play the games. And that was really helpful for me, because I have trouble with learning stuff like tabletop games. I usually end up assuming rules that aren't true, and only later realize, so that's not where that goes, okay? But a video game automatizes the process. Automatizes the process. You know exactly where everything is supposed to go, you know exactly what the flow of the game is, so that makes it a lot easier to learn. Obviously later, trading card game based video games became more rare, so I didn't quite get into things anymore. Also, I used to play usually with my siblings, and then my siblings weren't playing, so I wasn't playing. So there was a whole long stretch when I didn't play any trading card games. And then Weiß-Schwarz happened, and then WIXOSS happened. So I'm also playing Weiß-Schwarz and WIXOSS, and I've started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, but only online. And you guys introduced me to Shadow Wars, which is basically Hearthstone, but with more anime. So...
So it's basically Hearthstone, objectively better.
Objectively better.
If you don't have any attachment to Blizzard, then yes, it's very much more interesting.
I think so.
So you said, Neni, that if you played with other people, maybe you didn't play by the actual rules, but that's part of the charm of playing while you're young, is making up your own rules at times, and that happened to me as well. So there is some merit to it. So
you mean like the stuff with Monopoly where everybody thinks that you get the money that was confiscated from false parking and such if you end up on free parking, and even though that's not actually a rule.
Yeah, I mean they're practically
that's what we call house rules.
Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, but the thing is with trading card games, I don't know if house rules work there because they will often contradict the card text, and then yeah. Because
well, you know, it depends on what. For example, we didn't use monster zones when we were when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh. When I was young, so people could have like 7 monsters, 9 monsters on the field, and it would be iffy.
That does not fit with the number of slots on the dual disc.
Well, the thing is, we didn't have dual discs.
Oh, that means you had a whole lot less mutilated cards than we did, probably.
Peasants.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, it can happen.
Do you guys play any trading card games that I don't play? Because, as I said, I'm playing WIXOSS. Oh god, I love WIXOSS so much. It's such a good game. And Weiß is great too, but Weiß takes so long and it's so RNG.
It does take a while, yeah, but it's still fun. The only one you didn't exactly mention is Pokemon that I used to play, but I don't play anymore. But I did have a deck. Nowadays I have one of the basic decks that came out with X and Y, which is a Sylveon deck. But other than that, I don't actively search to play. I find the other card games more dynamic, but Pokemon is fun too.
And I know that.
What about you, people?
Yeah, I actually have some Pokemon trading cards that I bought in Japan, but not enough to have a deck. It's like 10 cards, but I like them because they're very pretty. They were like it was a fairy themed set with a lot of foiled cards, and I was like, I'm getting.
I have a story about Pokemon.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just remembered. When I was like 6 or 7, or I was very young. The whole school that I went to got extremely into Pokemon trading cards. As kids do, they like to share stuff and be involved with each other.
They like creatures and killing off creatures with others. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I also got into it a little bit. And I remember I bought a deck, or my mom bought me a deck probably, and among those cards was the Dragonite. It was like one of the stronger cards at the time, because this was way back in Gen 1.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that the video trading card Pokemon game also had Dragonite as like an unreasonably overpowered card. It was like a legendary in that game, and I was like, why? It's a Dragonite!
Yeah, it's a Dragonite.
Dragonite is a wall of good stats and good moves.
I guess so.
It's the only dragon in Gen 1.
That is true.
Anyway, so when I was out, I remember this kid. I don't even know. I knew he was like one of the neighbors, but I did not know him personally. He wanted to trade with me, and he saw that I had a Dragonite, and he was like, "I want that card, and let's trade." And I got extremely ripped off. I realized in hindsight.
What? You actually traded it?
I did not know. I mean, I had no particular attachment to Dragonite at the time. I was a kid, so
I traded it. The same thing. I really don't mind the dragons.
Said okay, I would be so ashamed of you.
Yeah, today I would never trade it, but I got like 2 cards for it, I think. I don't remember which ones. It was like Raticate and Primeape, I think. I don't know.
God, that does sound like a ripoff.
Yeah, so I never played Pokemon much anyway, like not the card game much. I did a few times, but I never got hugely into it. I liked the Game Boy game a lot more.
Yeah, the Game Boy game was great.
Because I like the pretty effects. Yay! And playing in real life is like, oh, nothing happens, you're just putting tokens on them.
I remembered that like also the Game Boy game had like this Imakuni character who's actually a real guy, a real musician who does music in Japan, and he scared me so much as a kid. But he was also so amusing. So
bizarre.
He killed himself a lot. It was amazing.
Yeah, like not the actual character didn't kill himself, but in the game he killed himself, like in the card game. Yes.
Yeah, he
just making that clear.
He kept playing cards he kept playing this one card that basically had no effect except for your own Pokemon is now confused. It was a gag. It was a gag card. It was just the gag was that the card is absolutely useless, but the AI is programmed to use it like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that happened.
Sorry, that reminds me of something that Randy told me about Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and you played this Bakura guy.
Oh, the self-burn guy.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me about that, or tell us about that?
Oh, of course. Well, you know, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, but recently I've been playing Duel Links. Been playing a lot of casual duels, and I like the trend of seeing some duelists that aren't trying to win exactly. They're trying to go out or in their own terms or annoy you. And I often met this Bakura guy that used all of his effects in order to burn himself for game. And I just respect it. If he manages to get the final blow, he wins. So you have to play around that. It's funny.
That reminds me of that one game of Shadowverse I played yesterday. This guy was so determined to make me deck out. He didn't want to just beat me. He just wanted me to beat myself. It was like 5 rounds in, he already had me. He could just have launched every direct attack ever and I would have been dead. But he refused to attack me directly. He just kept letting me have the next round, and I couldn't catch up because he just kept building his wall. And I couldn't exactly reach him because he always had something with ward out. So I couldn't attack him directly, but by the end of it, I at some point I just realized, okay, I'm gonna deck out. He's waiting when I'll give up. It's a game for him, but I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I will stay here, and then I decked out. So yeah, I mean I'm not that good at trading card games, I have to honestly say. I love playing them, but the strategic side of it kind of eludes me. I mean, we're getting to this later, but that's probably why I like WIXOSS so much, because the game is so fast-paced that if you don't do any egregious misplays right away, there's a good chance you won't get a chance to actually screw yourself over with a bad combo.
Unless you dope your opponent's monster.
Yes, I know, I did that!
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
If only Layla was around and you could dope her, then there would be real pain.
Yeah, that was another story that happened. Like, we were playing WIXOSS on the online engine for it that's called Webxoss, that hasn't been updated in a while, but is still the best engine for playing WIXOSS that's out there. And the problem
You should put the link in the description.
I should probably. And the problem with fully automated engines for trading card games is, while they are really great and a great way to learn playing a game because it takes all the steps away from you, if you make a misplay in an automated engine, like a video game, you can't take it back. It's just a really stupid misplay. Like, you'll end up doing really stupid stuff, like equipping cards to your opponent's creatures. Or, what do I know? Or accidentally doing the wrong selection. That's stuff that wouldn't happen in real life. And yeah, pretty much that happened to me, I think, while we were playing that one tournament. I used one of my buffing cards on, I think it was triples. Was it triple?
No.
Was Randy?
It wasn't in a tournament.
Oh,
it wasn't in a tournament.
It wasn't a casual one, yeah.
Okay, but against like...
Randy.
Okay, so yeah, I boosted one of Wendy's monsters because I was an idiot. I didn't even realize that was possible, and then I couldn't take it back because automated engine. That's the kind
also, this was with your pure Guardian. Is it Guardian? Like the servants, yeah.
Yeah, my servant deck.
Yes.
That was amazing. My deck with nothing but servants. I love. We're getting to weird decks later too, so let's leave that for now. But yeah, so right now I play Shadow Wars, Duel Links. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, WIXOSS, and Weiß-Schwarz. I know, and Triple, I know you've played Hearthstone as well.
I have. This is. I guess I'll go through my history with card games as well. I mentioned Pokemon. I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty early too. Like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Were the main TV kid shows about that had card games at the time. So a lot of kids were into it. So Pokemon would be on during Sundays, I think it was, and Saturdays or Sundays. And right after it would be Yu-Gi-Oh! So everyone knew what those two were. But I never played it serious. I did get the Kaiba starter deck because I loved Kaiba even as a kid.
I got the Yugi deck, so
yeah. So yeah, like I was just going on the kid trend train,
Yes.
As it were, and
All this stuff happens when you're a kid. It reminds me of a story. I'll say it afterwards.
okay. I didn't really play much because I didn't really go to my way to like look for matches with card games or anything. I just got them because it was cool to have them at the time, I guess. And then I didn't really play much of any card game until I became a teen, I guess. Oh yeah, so we had Shonen Jump in Sweden for a while. Like
Seriously?
they would actually they would actually translate a bunch of manga and put them in a collected magazine. And I got one from my friend as a birthday gift, and I was interested, so I got the subscription through my mom because I was still very young at the time. I was like in my teens, so I didn't really have my own money or anything. So I asked my mom to get a few for me, and I would be subscribed for a while. And in one of the issues, they would give you a disc to install Yu-Gi-Oh! Online.
oh,
Yeah, this was like in 2005. But it was kind of limited, but you still unlocked cards and stuff, but it was kind of bare bones, like you couldn't select, you weren't playing as an actual character or anything, you were just playing your own deck. It eventually did update and become more feature rich and such, but this was like a beta. It felt like you could play and you could have your cards. But it was just dueling against other people. That was the only thing you could do.
I get that.
So I played that for a while because it was cool. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it was in Shonen Jump. So I was like, hey, Yu-Gi-Oh! I know that. And after a while it shut down, I think, because they were, I don't know, I think it was a limited thing, like you could only play it for a while.
Oh,
But I remember, I remember one guy in that he played Solemn Wishes, which restores your life points every time you draw a card, and he played that with an Exodia deck. So I could just not beat that guy because he kept restoring health, and his last card was a piece of Exodia, so he literally drew through his entire deck.
seriously?
Yeah, so but yeah, still exists today, that archetype.
Yeah, it still is strong, even on a normal format today. I know people that use spell absorption just because Pot of Desires is a 3-off. Because when you banish 10, you recover 5,000 life. Because it's over 500 for every banished card.
I know that in Duel Links, like, people like to spam Exodia decks with Yugi because Yugi has the ability to put yeah, he's the only way to play Exodia, I think, in Duel Links.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is. And they just put together a deck that consists of nothing but draw card spells.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And Blue Dragon Summoner and Sengen and, this kind of...
Yeah, all the annoying ones.
It was kind of funny.
But moving on, I don't think I got into a lot of card games for a while. There's one I feel like I remember vaguely, but I think I got from somewhere, I don't remember where, but I got this Duel Masters card.
Oh god! Duel Monsters! Oh my god!
And I think I also got a few Digimon cards from somewhere. I don't remember where.
It appeared out of nowhere. It means you're the chosen one.
Yeah, I got it from Atem walking by, and he's like, "Here, have a trading card."
Aren't you the champion of Duel Masters? It reenacts the whole GX opening.
I didn't.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know you were Jaden. Now I know.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I probably got it from like a magazine. Like I read Donald Duck comics for a long while.
Oh yeah.
My mom got that. I love comics as a kid, like Donald Duck and Garfield and all those.
I know that I also had a few Digimon cards, but like I had none that I really was interested in because I really love Digimon, but like the card game never really interested me. I know they tried to market it by having it as a plot point in Digimon Tamers. But that also
really?
it was a plot point in Digimon Tamers that was actually mandated on the rider. But I think that also kind of subsided after a while. The cards were mostly what they did was have the Tamers use ability cards from the card game in order to help out their Digimon. So in a way that was their way of actually having the Tamers fight alongside their Digimon, but that kind of subsided after they learned how to merge with their Digimon, because then obviously that was kind of pointless. So the card game fell by the wayside, and the only people who still used it were like the B characters, the B squad, who...
But they still do the cool poses, and the dramatic swipes of the cards is cool.
That was really cool, yeah. That made you want to, wow, I want to do this too. This looks so cool. And then you tried to, and you just ended up bending the edge of your card by punching it into the thing.
And then Yugi comes in and like, "You must not care for your trading cards enough."
Where's your protective slaves?
Yes. No, but seriously, I don't... What was I gonna say? The whole thing with Digimon for me was like, this isn't Pokemon, I like Pokemon more, and then I didn't look into it.
I think I like both really much, but that's not what we're talking about. For a while there was this thing where everything ever had a trading card game. I remember that I did have a booster of a One Piece trading card game, but I don't know where that came from. I don't know if this was an actual thing or just something that the German authorities came up with. I don't know. It just existed.
What I want is for there to be this this legend of the pharaoh that comes when you sleep and leaves a trading card under your pillow.
That would be amazing.
That's like what happens to us. We just get this trading card and then we're like, where did this come from?
If it didn't exist, it exists now.
I want that.
So kids, everybody out there, remember, if you're a nice girl or a nice boy or a nice whatever, if you sleep at night, the trading card pharaoh will come and bring you a trading card of an obscure trading card game under your pillow. Probably.
And you're destined to become great at it.
Yes.
You're welcome.
So I think so, and you also play Hearthstone.
I do play Hearthstone, and I don't do it as much these days. But that's the next card game I tried probably. It was Hearthstone because Blizzard, and my brother was like, "Hey, this looks kind of cool," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna be great at it," and then I suck at it, but it's fun.
I wasn't interested at all in Hearthstone, and then you came and were like, "Hey, there's Hearthstone, but with anime," and I'm like, "Go on."
Yeah, that's thanks to Randy, because Randy tried it first before any of us.
Yeah, that's... But then
it's nice
and I thought Triple might like this, so I will inform him. So now you both play more than me.
Yes. And Randy was, and I was like, yeah, it has anime girls in it. I'm like, go on. No, but.
And I also got the both of you, but I got the both of you into WIXOSS and Weiß-Schwarz, so it's easy.
WIXOSS is amazing.
Yeah.
Weiß is like, it's too slow for me. But if there is like a faster way to play it, I would be very interested.
Well, yeah, actually having the physical cards.
Yeah. But that's not automatic and it doesn't have flashy effects.
That's true.
Somebody should make a proper
Until they
engine
make
for
an
Weiß.
automatic.
Somebody should make a proper engine for Weiß, but it would be super illegal because of all the different licenses involved with Weiß. For those people who don't know, Weiß-Schwarz is a trading card game that basically has every set is based on a different license. And it's mostly anime, but there's also some other stuff like video games, and then there's Star Wars for some reason. So it
doesn't like Sega own like 75% of those franchises.
Probably.
Puyo and Persona and.
There's also the effect that happens in the cards that come in fun packs, which are crazy. There is one. I only know the Milky Homes because that's what I looked into. But I know there is one Henriette, I guess, which makes you trade with your opponent a booster pack that wasn't opened yet.
Yes.
And that's a mandatory effect of the card. It's interesting.
They should make a game where you actually get a booster pack in the game.
Hopefully.
That there's a fun pack card for Wusa's Hand to Mouth Life, which is like a funny anime, which also has like some choke effects, and one of them is like you actually have to go out, buy a booster pack and play a card from that booster pack.
Yeah, or you change the game entirely. It's like Shizarade on Magic. Though I guess that makes you play another game of Magic, but yeah.
Isn't there one that is like give your opponent a back rub or something?
Yes, there is.
There is.
It's kind of amazing.
I want the game to give me a massage.
So, yeah. So that's it about trading card games that we play. And the next question I have listed here, and we're 27 minutes in already.
Hold on. Has Randy talked about his games?
I think he did.
I did, yeah, before you. I didn't say the story, which is a very short one, and it's funny that Neni mentioned Exodia because it has to do with it, which is something that happened when I was. I don't think I was a kid anymore. I was probably on sixth grade, but I was passing by on my campus. There's still people playing Yu-Gi-Oh occasionally, and I happened to watch from the distance. Two kids playing, and one of them was drawing Exodia. I was like, oh, I want to see if he actually managed to draw it.
Yeah.
And he actually did, but when he showed him to the opponent uses a counter trap called Divine Wrath, which negates the effect of a monster, and they stood there wondering, this is legal, right?
That is a good question. That is a good question.
No, I think Exodia negates that.
Yeah, Exodia, it cannot be chained to, so it activates by itself. But yeah, it was a funny moment because I laughed at the time, but I didn't want them to think I was fine.
It feels like a last-ditch effort to save the sinking ship. Anyway,
I mean, for the longest time, I thought, hey, can't Kuribo just negate Exodia's damage? But no, that's not how it works.
Exodia's damage is infinite. But then Kuribo just drops, hey, the damage is 0 now. Or Arcana 14 the Temperance also does the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think we kind of talked about this already, but the second question I've written down is the appeal of card games. So what is the appeal of card games? To me, the appeal of card games is just the fact how much you can imagine with them. I think the engines that I played with, like the video games, really help with that because they make it look so cool and flashy. And then when you play it on tabletop, it does feel like that too, because you feel like. Also, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Does the same thing with making it so big and flashy. You just imagine it like this. It's a very imaginative game. I do the same with playing Weiß now too, even though Weiß doesn't have an engine or an anime. When I play Weiß, I just really imagine the characters coming out and doing this flashy stuff.
Make a Weiß anime. Make a Weiß anime.
A Weiß anime would be the most chaotic thing ever.
Yes! I mean, how would he even get all the licenses for that? I mean, there is.
Ask Project Cross Zone. They'll do it.
I mean, there is kind of a Weiß anime, but it's mostly just like shorts that advertise the game and teach you how to play. And
really?
they don't really use that many actually existing cards. Like most of the cards they exist are fake and just have the faces of the characters in the actual shorts on them. But they did play.
How dare they?
They did play Yuna Rukami at one point.
Oh, good. Nice.
So Atlas was in on it apparently.
Yeah, so just make it an anime with Sega characters. Just ask Sega to okay it.
So it's nothing but Puyo Puyo and Persona.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I can live with that.
Yeah. Do it.
But yeah, the appeal of trading cards is really like the imaginative aspect of it. And on the one hand, there's really clear rules, so it's not like it doesn't take as long to play like a tabletop RPG. And there isn't as much confusion about what you're supposed to do if you really have a lot of routine with the game. But you can also do a lot of cool stuff just by figuring out how the cards combo together and just imagining how that would look like if it actually happened with the artworks on the cards. And they're so pretty too. I love pretty artworks, and collecting is just fun too. So it's really addictive like that. What's for you guys? What's the appeal of trading card games for you guys?
Oh, I have a lot to say, but do you want to go, Randy?
I can say, yeah, I'll go first then. I do think the appeal of card games goes along that way too, but for me, it's the most important aspect is the capacity to both do good and express yourself. You know how in the anime all the characters have a certain deck that usually is unique to them.
Yeah.
And it sometimes reflects either who they are to a very cartoonish degree or just what they like. And I like that too. I like the fact that I can get into a card game and see the cards that I like the most and try to make them work even if they're not very strong or not meta. I mean, you wouldn't play Arcana Force in locals today, but if you like Tarot, you can still try to make it work, make a world lock and a small monster engine to keep it being your turn every turn. So you can find these ways to make them work and make them represent, a bit of who you are. And when you put yourself in your deck, it's even more fun to win. Yes.
I agree.
I absolutely agree. I should have mentioned that too, honestly, because I'm probably one of the biggest offenders with just playing decks that I think represent me and not anything else.
Yeah, I know, but it's good that you didn't say it all, because then I'd have nothing to
Yeah, that's true.
We'll have that. We have that for point 4 anyway,
Yeah,
like what
that's
kind of
true.
decks we play.
True. Triple, so your
You
story.
can go triple.
Yep. So what I like is, first of all, I like when there's pretty art in cards, because I want to play the cards that have the prettiest art and the coolest art. And what's really appealing to me is seeing like this is why I want every card game ever to have an anime, because I want to play just like in the anime, and I want to have the coolest cards that are in the anime, and I want to play them. But what draws me to card games is trying to, it's like a mix, I guess, of trying to play the coolest cards and the cards that aren't really that meta, because what I don't like is playing cards that are played just because they're good and popular, and I guess I'm already bridging over to point 4 already, but I like to try and use the underdog kind of cards that aren't so very popular, and trying to figure out what makes them work. What kind of
how to make a card work. That's actually a good segue over into the point 3. The issues with balancing a card game, because actually that's something I would like to talk about too. Like when I play a deck, when I get new cards, I always think about how can I make this work, how can I make this useful. But sometimes I just figure out like, wow, this card is utterly useless. There's no way to viably play this card, and then I'm like, then why does it exist? It's a waste.
That's an interesting topic. That's a very interesting topic, actually.
If a card is created but no one plays it, does it exist?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Good, good. Continue.
Honestly.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, honestly, that's every time I think about card games, that's what probably the most frustrating thing for me. Like, I think there's no way to actually balance a card game without running into huge power creep issues. Because just
it's extremely difficult for sure.
Because you started with the base game, but then you want to add cooler things. But the cooler things, in order to be cooler, they need to be trickier to get around and have new strategies. But then the more sets are added, the less relevant the earlier sets become. And eventually you end up with a completely different meta, where playing one of the early games, a set that even a deck that would have been extremely potent in the beginning, suddenly will get laughed at. And
yeah,
it's just very frustrating for me. For example, in Weiß-Schwarz, this is a big issue in Weiß-Schwarz because the earliest sets run on a completely different imagination of how to play the game than the later sets. Like, the earlier sets thought you were going to protect your cards and not try to not get to level 3 at all. Of course, that's not how anybody ended up playing the game. So as a result of that, you get the Persona 3 set, which has almost no level 3 cards, and seriously has a card that intentionally lets you deal damage to yourself, and does nothing else. and then there's the Velvet Room card from the Persona 3 set, which does nothing else but draw a card, which is absolutely useless in Weiß-Schwarz.
Because you have a very much simpler draw on the beginning of every turn, yeah.
So why would anybody play that? So Persona 3 these days, except for one specific thing, well, they did some cards in later sets to make some Persona 3 cards more relevant. For example, they made Elizabeth's Climax card more relevant by adding a Margaret and Elizabeth combination level 3 as a promo card. And now in the Persona 5 set, they added some cards that can combo back to a Persona 3 card named Execution, which is a very popular strategy right now. But aside from those few cards that they made relevant again, the Persona 3 set has become entirely irrelevant, and it's especially egregious in Weiß-Schwarz, because in Weiß-Schwarz, when a set is irrelevant, that means there's an entire series, an entire franchise that you can't use anymore in Weiß. And
that is sad because everyone wants their favorite characters.
Exactly. In other games it's not as bad, because I guess they can still make cards that are similar in future sets. Like, they try to keep the magician archetype relevant in Yu-Gi-Oh! And so. But, yeah, that's generally these balance issues are the big frustrating factor for me with trading card games. And it's also the reason why I'm not touching the current Pokémon trading card game and the current physical Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, because I don't even know anymore what these are about, because those games aren't even about the same things anymore that they were about when I started playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Feels the same.
Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular is like power creep incarnate to me.
Yeah.
I can try and explain what Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become, because I have more context with it, but I will do it on my own time.
No, do it, honestly, I am interested.
Okay, so the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it accelerated too much, and that's the biggest issue with Konami, balancing the game. Because what they think about balancing the game? Well, we just add things that people will want to buy more packs for. So we are going to include different things. Instead of just differing by effect, they included, well, let's start in the beginning, where there were only, normal monsters and effect monsters, spells, traps of all kinds, and we worked with that. Usually, if there are special summons, there are few. If there are special summons for the graveyard, there are few. But then synchros happen, and synchros, they add, well, first of all, they can be used from the extra deck so long as your setup is right. So that's kind of a plus to card economy. Sure, you use 2 at least to make a synchro, but they usually have effects that are worth it, or they have stats that are worth it. And because of that, Konami started to release a lot of sets that are based on their synchros, including a set specifically against synchros that is kind of bad, but that's not the point. The point is that they tried to make this, and also the monsters that are used for the synchro summon, they can be more easily retrievable from the graveyard now, and that led to a few things in the game accelerated. And then there is XZ summons, and this
I hate those.
This made it kind of even worse because XZs, they are technically easier than synchros to summon because you need monsters of equal level, and it doesn't require tuners, so it can be used even with normal monsters if you want. And you can, and their effects are pretty good. I know there are a few high level synchros like high level, no high rank. There is
this
one
is like 10. Sorry, I need to cut in, but this is like fusing, except you don't need polymerization.
Yes, it's
and
bullshit.
You can do it with any monster at all.
It's bullshit.
And it's like you can do it with any monster at all, so long as the level is right. And it's like, how do I compete with that if I don't have my own?
Yes! It's just new strategies that nobody can compete with. The same thing happened with Weiß with early plays. Early plays are basically cards that allow you to play them before the level that they're supposed to be played on has arrived, which can result in your opponent only being level 2 but already having a board full of level 3s in front of you, and then when you're playing an earlier set, and then you're just like, well, shit, I have absolutely nothing to counter this. I guess I'll just have this guy steamroll me now until I'm dead.
Let me help by clocking myself.
Yes.
Yeah. Even on XYZ though, at least they had the good intention of leaving they're usually strong. Even the rank 4s or rank 3s have over 2000 attack. But the ones that have like the insane effects, like there's a rank 10 that you detach one material from to cause 2000 damage just like that. It's once per turn, I think, but it's still pretty strong and a pretty strong burn. And he also has a lot of attack. But he's rank 10, so you need 2 level 10 monsters. Then again, there's also introduced like White Knight Express, which is a level 10 that you can normal summon without tributing, but his attack becomes 0, but still there is the attack there. And to top it off, the graveyard, at this point the graveyard started becoming a second hand, basically, because there's so many ways to bring things from it. Not just from the outdated card, like Call of the Haunted has been power craft from at this point. You can use Soul Charge, which revives up to 3 monsters for 1,000 of your own life points. And, until you have critical life points, that doesn't matter.
I'm just so confused. Like, why did they even ban one monster reincarnation? What was the card even called?
Reborn.
Monster Reborn. Why did they even ban Monster Reborn if they made the graveyard so easily accessible after? It's just like...
To be fair, Monster Reborn is not banned anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Okay, good. Thanks. I'm absolutely on date with this.
It is limited, but yeah.
The thing with Monster Reborn is you can summon from your opponent's graveyard, which is extremely strong.
Okay, yeah.
But you can also do it with autonomous action unit.
Oh, that's true.
It just takes like a few life points, but you know.
That's true.
And then you know, Konami thought, this is good. We're selling a lot. This is. We're getting a lot of money for this. Let's invent another card that will power creep some cards. Let's come on. And then some guy said, how about we get monster cards and mix them with spell cards? And someone was like, printed right now. And
I mean,
and then Pendulum Summon happened.
It's like we swing back and forth with what we want to do with the game. So let's call it Pendulum Summon.
But I think that's something that digital card games really avoid because they rotate out old sets. But I think that's bullshit too, because you want to play those old sets.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is very unique in the sense that it doesn't rotate sets, so that kind of thing happens. But it also makes things like columns come back to relevancy on Master Rule 4, or they would if they didn't get errated immediately. But that's a story for the Link summoning, which I'm getting to.
Oh God.
But yeah, Pendulum and Link have kind of the same problem. Pendulum allows an immense amount of special summons, but they usually come from your hand until they get destroyed, and then they go to the extra deck, so they can be pendulums again if you have the scales. And it's not hard to set up the scales. And when they were released, you could the scales were in the side of the field, so they didn't occupy any space. So you still have your full playing field. Nowadays they got nerfed, so that they occupy 2 of the magic and trap cards.
I'm already lost.
Oh yes, that is the intention. I'm sorry, man. So,
So basically bullshit.
I will wrap it up then. Pendulums and Links, they have the same problem. They special summon a whole lot. So much so that I know that if you play something like Vanity's Ruler, a card that specifically impedes your opponent from special summoning, you're just considered a dick because you're doing that.
I will do that on purpose.
Yes! Yes, because this is bullshit. The game has rules against summoning so much bullshit in one turn.
Yeah, well not against special summoning, which is the problem. But yeah, that's it. The Pendulum itself, the problem was the special summoning, and people ran a lot of things that prevented spells from activating, so you could stop scales. But then Link happened, and Link not depends on your scales, it depends on the number of monsters you have. So you now have these engines nowadays that put monster after monster on the field until you can make all the monsters you need, set up a full board of 5. 5 plus the extra monster, because Link monsters came with an extra zone. And then pass, and then negate absolutely everything your opponent tries to do, and then you win this way.
Why? Why? I don't understand.
Yeah, this pushes out of relevance all the cards that came, from
everything.
Formats unless you're trying to be cheeky with it. I know people like to kid around making Exodia links, which is really funny.
That just sounds cruel.
It kind of is, but there are a lot that you can do with it. But the game is so fast that it doesn't give. You either play first and negate all of what your opponent does. Your opponent has to play around all of the negations that you have on board, or you just. That's what it evolved to. You have to set up a board and brace for the opponent.
In one turn.
Yeah, which is why going first is the preferred way of doing it.
Yeah.
Before you wanted to go second because then you could attack and do some application.
Draw an extra card.
And that is true. Anyway, I rented a lot. I just said that long story short, don't try to balance your game by releasing every single type of card you can think about.
Don't be fucking Konami.
Don't be fucking Konami.
God damn it! Fuck Konami. But I mean, that's why maybe there should be a rotation, but on the other hand, I don't want the rotation because then I can't play old cards, and actually that's the whole problem. We want to play old cards. We don't want. If we wanted to play a different game, we would buy a different game.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh is already basically rotating out old sets because they're not relevant anymore.
Yes.
Practically, yeah.
And honestly, I just...
There are some cards like whatever released on CyberDark that people thought, oh, this will be interesting because they have columns there. And columns became important because the 2nd and 4th now have a new monster zone for the links. But that's another story altogether.
You know what I think should be done? They should just make sure that with new sets, they make old cards relevant again. For example, what WIXOSS is doing right now, which the set's based around the latest anime season, they bring out a lot of cards, a lot of support for old sets, and almost no new LWIX, like no new archetypes. They just bring out a lot of support for old archetypes. So you can play Tama again, you can play Midoriko again, you can play Hanayo again. Like all this stuff, just giving them support with new abilities, new things that came in later in the game. Like now they all have coin abilities, like they now have alternatives with coin abilities. So now you can, it's not like you can use all of the cards again, but at least a lot of the arts
mixes it up a bit.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is relevant again, and it makes, I think this is how it should be done. Like you shouldn't just like make new sets, make old sets irrelevant by bringing in new sets, but you should keep as much as possible relevant. Like I already said that Weiß kind of tries to do this too when they bring a new set from the same franchise as an old set, but it's kind of minimal. And especially with Persona, they have this extreme issue that like somehow for some dumb reason they never made a Persona user archetype. So instead, the Persona 3 Persona users all have the archetype God, which makes no sense. The Persona 4 Persona users all have the archetype Weapon and Magic. And the Persona 5 Persona users, I guess that one is obvious. Yeah, Phantom Thief, exactly. Except for Akechi, because Akechi is a detective, which means you could technically make a deck with nothing but Naoto and Akechi, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I ship it.
You could also make Makoto and Mitsuru, but I don't know how well they support each other. But yeah, it's especially egregious because in Weiß the archetypes are so important. But it's not, then again, it's not just Persona that has this issue. Actually, other series have this issue even worse. Like, Haruhi Suzumiya is a mess of archetypes. It's like, if you want to play a consistent deck, you literally have to play nothing but Yuki Nagato. Just Yuki Nagato, the entire deck. Because it's impossible.
That is the best character, though.
Yes.
I thought your whole deck was Endless 8.
I will make one.
The thing is, if you want to play Endless 8, okay, I need to explain this for everybody. Endless 8 is a card that relies on you chaining it with itself 8 times after one another to trigger a chain reaction that is basically extremely trollish and mean. But the thing is, in order to play it, you need to play nothing but Haruhi. And Kyon, probably. Because Haruhi is the only one who can actually make proper use of that card.
And you reenact the scene 8 times.
Yes.
You should probably, every time you play a card, you should say it 8 times in a row. I play Haruhi with a book, I play Haruhi with a book, I play Haruhi with a book, Endless 8 is...
And then you say, no, wait, this vacation isn't over yet, or whatever. I don't know, I remember how it goes.
We need to do our homework to end this trading card game.
Yes. So, what I wanted to bring up, actually, since you brought up in the very start of this topic, there are some cards that are completely useless.
Yes.
There are some games that balance around this. Hearthstone does a very interesting thing with this.
Okay.
In Hearthstone, there are a lot of RNG effects that says there's a mechanic called Discover. And what Discover does is you pick 3 cards, not necessarily in your deck, but you randomly get 3 cards to choose from that are relevant to the card effect. So for example, you can discover a beast archetype. So you get to select from 3 beasts. And some of these beasts suck really hard. For example, there is a penguin for 0 cost that has 1 attack, 1 defense.
Okay.
Amazing. It is the snowman.
Yes, exactly, it's like the snowman. But you don't want that because it sucks. But Discover might make you do that anyway, because it's a card that exists. And so what I'm saying is, useless cards kind of balances an effect, because you don't only want the player to be able to choose from good cards, so they make some bad ones that trigger into the effect.
That's something that, for example, in Duel Links I play a card that's called Venus Agent of Creation. And the thing is, Venus Agent of Creation is an effective way to have a full board on your first turn. The problem with it is, in order to actually make use of her effect, you need to have monster cards in your deck that are called Mysterious Light
Mystical
Ball.
Shine Ball.
Mystical Shine Ball, exactly. And the thing is, Mystical Shine Ball on its own is absolutely useless, and if you're really unlucky, it might end up clogging your hand. So you kind of need to play this useless card. But if you do, and you actually get Venus on the first turn, you immediately have a full board. And that's very useful.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, that's another way to do it.
Exactly. Stuff like this makes sense. Or if you have a card that lets you spam the board with weak monsters, then it makes sense. But I think Weiß doesn't specifically have that. And the thing is with Weiß especially is Weiß has a very strict division between the individual sets. It's not allowed in Weiß, because Weiß, as we've said several times, Weiß has its sets based on various franchises. And the rule of thumb is that in most formats you're not allowed to play different franchises together. So you can't just have a Phantom Thief All-Star deck.
But I want that.
Yeah, I mean, you could...
Or Persona 5 Milky Holmes deck, which is nothing but Phantom Thieves. My dream.
I mean, you could do this in a free-for-all, but in tournament formats, that's generally not allowed.
Yeah, casually, everything's good.
Yeah, so generally, you're just stuck with whatever is in that set. And sometimes sometimes you get cards like, this one has 100 attack. What? Why? But I like the character, but why? Stuff like that.
Better have a strong effect.
No.
And why do you exist?
It gives 500 points to 2 slots in the front row, probably, on your opponent's turn.
Probably.
God damn you, Theodore!
But Theodore buffs everyone.
Yeah, we figured that out. But only on the opponent's turn.
Yeah, very defensive.
That's still pretty fair.
Yeah.
This mixing sets can cause some balancing issues. I remember when I was scrolling through Webxoss and making my decks, I must have mentioned that to you. That one of N's cards is Calm After the Typhoon, which works as follows: you get all of your monsters, or Signy anyway, and all of your Ener into the trash, and your opponent does the same.
Oh god.
And then you all choose from your trash three Signy, 3 monsters, to put back on the field, and 3 cards to put back in your Ener. Both of you do this. Mm-hmm. But there is this card that I found on Ulif, I think. It's not Ulif exclusive, but it's a demon, which has the constant effect: negate all effects of cards on your opponent's trash. So if you pop Calm After the Typhoon with this on the field, you actually wipe out their board and their Ener, and they can't bring anything back, while you bring 3 Signy and 3 Ener.
Oh my
This is some Necro Valley. This is some Necro Valley trolling.
It is a Necro Valley troll, exactly. I'm like, holy shit.
Somebody, you should try that. You should try that.
No, the thing is, they are banned together. They know this. I's room says that they should be used together. I checked it out afterward. They're like, oh yeah, they know.
So they know.
Thank God.
Actually, that brings us right to question number 4. And it's good that we had that, because we have been going for 1 hour already. Whoa.
Yeah.
So what types of decks do we like to play, and are those types of decks actually practical or just flashy? And we've kind of touched on this already, because as Wendy says, the cool thing about trading card games is you can really customize what your decks are like, and they can say a lot about you. And accordingly, when I play trading card games, usually my decks have a lot of winged humanoids, and they are very cutesy, very magical. Because that's the kind of person I am. I like this kind of a superhero or magical or angelic vibe. So in Duel Links, I play, for example, in Duel Links, what I play in Duel Links is a fairy deck with Taya as my character. And that fairy deck relies entirely on either, well, I also play Black Magician Girl in it. I don't know why, actually. I do it because she's pretty, okay?
Because she's cute.
Yeah, but I also play mostly fairies in it, and it kind of relies on me getting out Joanne, Guardian Angel, so that I can just attack the opponent and take their life points. Like, take the attack points of the monsters of the opponent as my own life points. And to achieve this, I try to get out fairies that, if possible, don't die, or Venus Agent of Creation. And I just try to make sure that I have a full board for as long as possible. But I don't always manage, because it's not actually practical, because fairies is a very badly supported type. But I just love it.
Have you unlocked Ishizu yet?
I have, but I don't like her fairies, because they're mostly...
No, but you can just pop Teya's fairies in there if you want. And the thing with Ishizu is she recovers 1,000 life points for every time she draws a fairy.
Yeah, but then I can't play the Unhappy Girl combo where I just lock everything on the board in place, and I love that. Because that is a really mean combo.
True.
If I actually managed to play it, like during the tournament, I didn't actually got to properly play it. But if it works, if the Unhappy Girl combo works, basically what happens, it's especially Unhappy Girl is so mean against Dragon decks, because Dragon decks are all about a beatdown, but you can't do a beatdown if your entire board is frozen in place, and it's amazing. Yep. I can just stall for time until I get out Joanne, then I boost Joanne with every card imaginable, then I attack the Blue Eyes White Dragon and take 3,000 life points.
And then you place Sisters of Dagla on it.
Yes, it's amazing.
And then you heal even more.
And the other deck that I play in Duel Links is Silent Magician. I call the deck Magic Game. And basically, it's nothing but... I try to get, in my first turn, I try to have Silent Magician level 4 and level up on hand. And then I play that. And then the game is over. Yeah, and then I win. Basically, the entire...
You should play Cup of Ace in that deck, because you use it, and if it's heads, you draw 2 cards. If it's tails, your opponent draws, but Silent Magician gets his special ability, so he gets stronger.
I should probably try to get that card. I don't have it yet, but it would work very well with that. The only problem with the Silent Magician deck is if I don't draw level up soon enough, a Silent Magician level 4 on his own. On her own, it's actually a female monster. On her own, she's pretty weak, and she takes a lot of time to build strength and protecting her. I don't really have a good method of protecting her, but I'm working on that. But yeah, basically that's how I play in Duel Monsters and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to just I play mostly spellcasters and fairies, and I just try to build momentum by stalling. And then using some kind of combo that I really like, because I think it's really funny. But that's how I play. I like flashy effects. That's also very a lot of how I play. Okay, that's why I keep dying in WIXOSS, for example, because I always try to play cross, but cross is so hard to play, and I keep every time I play one cross Signy, and then you guys throw out something that destroys one of my Signy, and then the cross effect is negated, because both need to be on the field. And in the past I also had this problem where I would put them in the wrong slots, and then the cross effect wouldn't work, because I'm a moron, that's why. But
I started playing cross with Miro, and I understand how that can happen now, but I haven't. So far I've been wary.
But I really like to play in WIXOSS, and what I think I'm good is like Resona cards. Resona's Signy that you play from the Elwick deck, which is pretty much the extra deck in WIXOSS, for those who don't know. And you can play them as long as the condition listed on the card is fulfilled, and they don't really ever die. They just go back to the Elwick deck. So the conditions are usually very costly though, except if you're on level 5 with Sashi, and Sashi pretty much allows you to just negate that, just throw them all out on the field. And it's amazing. And I really love playing that, and in WIXOSS I love playing white decks, because white is all about searching, and well, I love the aesthetic of white decks, because they're all about like angels and fairies and such things, and I really like this a lot, as we've already established. But on the other hand, it's also about deck searching a lot, about deck consistency, and I think for my strategies, which are all very flashy and built on gimmicks, I think I need a lot of deck searching. So it makes sense that I'd like to play that. Or cards like the Resonas, which are always available, even, like, I don't like relying on RNG. I don't like that at all. My problem is I like to...
And yet you pick card games.
Yes, I know! It's like torture for my soul! Then, well, in Shadow Wars, what do I play in Shadow Wars? Well, I usually do play Heavencraft and Forestcraft for the same reason, because it's fairies and angels again. You can see the pattern with me.
Yes.
And, I completely understand.
And then finally, yeah, and now we have Weiß, where I already said that with Weiß I actually go play on Fridays in an actual game environment with actual human players on actual tables. And they always tell people. And they always tell me, why do you play this? And because it's fun, but it's useless, but it's fun! So what I really like playing, like the only really somewhat competitive deck that I play, and even that has been criticized, is like a Persona 5 deck, which entirely relies on Futaba Sakura. Basically, it's nothing but the protagonist is beating down on the opponent's deck while Futaba supports him from the back row. And she supports really good, and she supports and heals and supports and heals. So basically you have Futaba in the back row and the protagonist in the front row, and it's just a dynamic duo. And I really like this one because it has some really powerful combinations, and I've won a fair few games with it. But on the other hand, I also play stuff like the Velvet Room deck which I built, which is I did not build this because it's very strong or anything, I just built it because I wanted to build something that has like all of the Persona characters in it. Like, not all of the characters, but like all of the Persona sets in it. It has all of the available sets in it, and that was the only thing that works, because I basically just put Igor and all the Velvet Room siblings into one deck. And the thing is, it works. It's mostly about deck control, this deck, but the thing is, I didn't put this together because there was any great field advantage behind it. I put it together because I like the Velvet Room, and that's all. And
to be fair, Weiß is the perfect game to actually do this with, because you can win with pretty much any deck that has the right ratios and somewhat coherent effects with each other. And I know that because I went to the same place that you went with a trial deck of Milky Homes and not much else, and I played against one person that I think was.
Experience.
Who was it? He was one of the two that was controlling the place, the competition, and I won first time. And I'm like, well, his deck is obviously better than mine. I could see, but I still managed to pull through.
Weiß is very RNG heavy.
Weiß is good for that.
Weiß is very RNG heavy, so yeah, if you want. In Weiß you can't focus on actually winning, and that's why I play so many gimmick decks in Weiß, because it's about having fun. Whether you win or not is totally pointless. You're supposed to have fun in the process, and that's why my favorite deck in Weiß is one that I've almost never won with, but it's just so fun. Basically, it's a Persona Q deck with Chia, featuring Chia, and some support from the sports characters from Persona 5. Basically what this deck does is, like, on level 1, Chia comes into play, and she kicks everything out of the game. Like, she has this ability where she can kick the characters into memory, and memory is basically removed from the game. And basically, you end up compressing your opponent's deck with that, so it's not necessarily a good thing. But it's just so cool to just, nope, this is no longer in the game, this is no longer in the game, this is no longer in the game. And finally, you reach level 3, and then you play Sen and Ray. Well, actually, oh no, also on level 1, There's a standard way. There's a standard way that can even put the. There's another standard way which has a very hard to play combo, which is extremely costly. But if you do play the combo, you can even remove the cards that your opponent uses to block damage from the game. And it's just so much fun to just decimate your opponent's deck like this. And then you'll reach level 3 and then you play the other Sand Way card. And that card basically for everything that you've removed from the game, it gets a boost and then your ability. And it's just so much fun to just take apart your opponent's deck like that and get rewarded for it. And I love playing that. I almost never win with it because usually what happens is that the opponent beats me by being very lucky. Well, I say lucky, but the thing is, if you decimate the deck like this, then when they reshuffle, they have a better chance of blocking in the end. And basically, what happens, they just kill me before I ever get to level 3 properly. But it's fun.
But you can't die unless you're level 3.
Yeah, I know, but they basically kill me. They straight damage me from level 2 straight into oblivion.
Ah, okay.
That can happen, yes.
But yeah, that's the thing with me and Weiß. That's how I play Weiß. And yeah, that you can see I play flashy decks. I don't play practical decks. But it's fun.
You still make them as practical as possible, which is, all that you can ask for, really.
By necessity. By necessity, really.
Well, yeah. Yeah. For the decks that I play, well, in real life, my decks have varied greatly in Yu-Gi-Oh! I have one that I had since 2006, I think, which is a white deck, and it also, funnily enough, it also has a Guardian Angel Joy, which Neni mentioned. It focuses on banishing most things and tribute summoning with Emperor Sim and all the life support that I could find. It also has a card called Sanguine Swamp, which when activated, it prevents your opponent from ever revealing set cards on their spell and traps. But if you put any other magic or trap card into play, you have to destroy it. So it's kind of a minor stun for both. And it is very bad, but but I have it physically and I like it. I also have some of the charmers, the familiar possessed versions, because I used to like them. And but on Duel Links, I play whatever has coherency that can either block until you can open an advantage, have an opening, or anything that has a lot of board control. I play Gravekeepers a lot. I play Gustos. Gustos, they are missing some of their monsters, but they have Rezi, the Whirlwind, where you can switch a Gusto monster you control with any monster on your opponent's side. So if she survives, you can nice blue eyes white dragon you have here. Give it here. And
you monster.
It can happen. It's cool. It's board control. Well, yeah. On Weiß, I haven't played much other than Milky Homes, so I know their cards the best. I don't have much of a strategy there except for low encore costs and using the characters that I like. Usually Cheryl, and I play a lot of Henrietta because I have a lot of Henriettas, but if possible I like to have a more detective-centric deck. On WIXOSS, I'm very defined on what I like. I like decks that are very defensive. I play N, I play Mirrodome, and both of them are considered pretty defensive. N especially, N I think is one of the most regarded as that. Mirrodome, she has some defenses, she has some banishes. She can also use her opponent's spells, something that can lead to an interesting number of FTKs,
yes.
OTKs.
You mean like stealing my Arc Hour?
Yeah, and attacking you for a game. It was pretty good.
Why?
Well, because it was there. Why are you running Arc Hour?
Screw me, Ludoon! Screw me, Ludoon!
Yeah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I like these kinds of decks. The ones that are defensive until they find an opening. And in WIXOSS, that's even more important because an opening can be as simple as, your opponent's low life. If you can banish enough Signy from the field now, you win, unless they have a lucky life burst. And yeah, they open this way. And it's very difficult to open up the opponent's field, but she has very specific effects for that, and they're not easy to pull off. One of them includes showing your opponent 8 cards of the same type on your hand. So it's not going to happen very often, but it can happen. And yeah, that is the style on WIXOSS. And what am I missing? Shadowverse? Shadowverse, I guess I just play Runecraft because the Illusionist is my favorite card in that game, and I play 3 of them. And she's just she costs 5 to use, and she creates an illusion of your minion with the highest stats that has died during this match, and you can use it for whatever. So it's a very easy plus, and the art is amazing. I have an animated one of them anyway.
Oh, nice.
And it's really amazing. The animations of that game are almost the best part of that game, really.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I agree too. Looks really pretty too.
I just play Runecraft. I have tried Portalcraft on the tournament, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. I like the prime artifact fact that it dies and then it comes back and then it dies. That comes back and then it keeps doing that.
It's very slow, but it's fun. Yep. It guarantees a minion for you.
It's true. So once it's set up, yes, it's true. But I don't like stacking my deck with things that then I can't draw what I might need. So that's
why you have cards that are artifacts for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So, triple.
Anyway, you take too long. You Yu-Gi-Oh! You played Blue Eyes and then Ancient Rules, bam! Blue Eyes start playing on the field, turn 2, and you blast them, and then you draw 2 more Blue Eyes, and then you fuse them to Ultimate Dragon, and then you blast them, and then they're dead. That's how you play.
That's Kaiba's dream right there, doing that every single time.
And then you play machines and you put them together to build bigger machines. You blast them, and then you put front your base, and then you special summon one every turn, and you XYZ Dragon Cannon, discard 1 card, blast everything.
So basically you're a Munchkin.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
I am a contrarian Munchkin. I never play meta cards. I hate them. I play everything that beats meta.
Yes.
So I know that you play mostly Kaiba, but you also play others.
I do play Alexis with Cyber Angels because I do like how consistent it is.
Yeah.
Like you can play Cyber Petite Angel, draw any Angel Machine card, and then use it. Like it's super fast and good.
I think out of the 3 of us, you probably play the most practical decks.
No, Randy does.
Do you think so?
I
guess, yeah. I guess I do. It's. I still try to stick to what I like seeing happen, but most of my decks I can make work to a good degree. You can do it to a triple, but if you, well. I'm
every character in Duel Links, I try to build a deck that's characterized for them.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely drawn to cards they actually have voice lines for. Like, if they have a voice line for it, I want to use it.
That makes sense.
So for Taya, I have Bahavilo, that card, if you equip something to it, it gains plus 500 plus whatever the equip does.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most useful card, so I play 2 of that, and I do it because Taya has a voice line for it. So yeah, I'm extremely based around what archetype the game tells me that the character likes, and that's fun. But in general, I like to play cards with big effects that, and then I like to support that I have an example from Hearthstone. There's a card called Rin the First Disciple, and this is a Warlock deck. So what you want to do, you play Rin turn 6 because it's a turn 6 card, and when Rin dies, she gives you a seal card, and you have to use that seal card 5 times. And every time you use it, you get a minion. First minion is a 2/2 demon, then it's a 3/3 demon, then it's a 4/4 demon, then it's a 5/5 demon, then it's a 6/6 demon. And
Not 666?
Unfortunately.
not quite, because the card costs 5.
Oh,
Damn it.
damn.
It costs 5 even for 2/2, so it's very expensive. But if you do that, and you play the 6/6 demon, you get a card that costs 10 mana for a 10/10 demon, and this demon destroys your opponent's deck. Like, their deck is just gone. And they don't have anything left in their deck.
It's like a controlled Infernal Tempest.
And what this does is, in Hearthstone there's fatigue, so if you draw you take 1 damage if your deck is empty. And then take 2 damage, and take 3 damage, and then take 4 damage. And basically, if they don't have a hand, you win. Like, then they can't do anything.
Yeah. This is how
it takes so long. It takes so long.
Your opponent works.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
No, sorry.
No, sorry. What did you say?
No, this is just. I just said this is how milling through make your opponent draw works too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But what this does, if your opponent hasn't drawn the whole deck, then the rest of the cards are just gone. So it's very satisfying to pull off, but it takes so long, so sometimes it's not even worth it because the opponent almost draws their whole deck anyway. And it is intentional, of course. Like, you don't want this to be too powerful. But I like it. I like this big effect, and I try to make it. But yeah, I like flashy and practical cards, and I try to make the flashy cards to be practical, but it's very hard, and also I hate meta cards. Because I don't place them, and I hate that. I want to be the cool, unique card player who sets the meta for himself.
I don't abide by anyone's rules. It's my rules now.
So I like cool art, I like characters that play their signature cards, I like anti-meta, and yeah, a combination of all those things.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted because apparently... never mind that, I got distracted. Anyway, what I'm taking away from all of this is that I'm...
You had Hearthstone, and then you're like, oh...
No, that's not the reason at all! Not the reason at all.
No, I know.
But basically what I'm taking away from this is basically that you guys just know how to build a deck better than I do.
50-50.
I guess I gathered more information if that's worth anything on that front, which I guess it is.
What I do is like, I'm gonna build the strongest deck ever, and then I lose, and then I'm like, damn it, I gotta add more cards. And then I lose again, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try and make it semi-meta. And then it kinda works, and then it's like, no, I don't want to be meta, and then I keep building on it.
I'm honestly...
Hey, it's really big on some games, especially Shadow.
I just find meta not interesting at all, because you're not doing something that everybody... If everybody is doing it, it's not fun. That's the only reason why I'm not...
Exactly. You get it. I hate it.
And that's why I like just mixing stuff that other people wouldn't usually mix.
Yes.
Like the Velvet Room! I would like my Velvet Room.
I want to play a card that destroys the meta. I want... If people play dragons, I play the dragon anti-dragon slayer that kills all dragons.
The dragon anti-cross.
Buster Blader.
But yeah, I guess I just realized you guys don't have a lot of the issues that I have. But I guess that's just part of the fact that I play card games just to be flashy, and I'm not very strategic, and I can't play chess. But, well...
I mean...
Well, to be fair, chess is not flashy at all. You can't both, oh, I go to H8. Here we go, this is the move. And now I upgrade to a queen. Oh no, he upgraded to a queen.
Well, I have the anti-queen upgrade. Negating your upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't worry about it. And I guess we all play in, of course we play in a way that makes it fun for us, as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I often get frustrated, especially when the others are using really ridiculous choke decks that somehow works again. Like,
Yeah,
oh god! Oh god! So there's a few things in Weiß that, basically there's a few sets in Weiß that have cards in them that are, basically that have the effect you can put as many of this card as you want into your deck.
Like Puyo Puyo.
Yes.
Like Cube in Palmage.
Or like, what's it called? Gomorin. Gomorin in Kisnevers. I once played against the Gomorin deck, and it was, oh god. Basically, Gomorins in that deck act as markers that can do pretty much everything. Basically, they make everything fucking strong, and you can kill them because they just retrieve them from the waiting room pile. So they just keep coming back. The more you kill, the more there are.
You mean Sullivans? I hate Sullivans Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, carry on.
Excavate your entire deck.
Yes! And I was like, what is going on?
You mean Magical Merchant?
I think it was after I lost to this Gomorin deck that I decided, okay, Weiß is not about winning. I'm just gonna play however the hell I want.
Banish all of those things with GA.
I should do that next time. But the problem was that even if I banish the one that I attacked, that the markers still go back to the waiting room.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, that brings us to the final question for the evening.
I just want to point out that I think you are the least mechanically focused, Neni. Like, you do destroy decks and stuff, but you think the least about, oh, if this does this, then that does that. And
Yes.
I like to focus on one big thing like that and then build around that, and then Randy kinda plays what he finds fun with mechanics.
Yes.
And I do a little bit of that.
I try to play the mechanics
Yeah, but
themselves.
that's kind of what I think. Like, Triple is very strategic. I am very just YOLO, and then there's Randy who he knows what he's doing.
I think Randy is the most strategic. I'm kinda the mix of you and Randy, I think. Like, I want this big nuke, but how should I play that nuke?
I want to look everything.
Actually, there's you might like this. There's a combo in Weiß in the Gurren Lagann set, which basically it mimics the final battle scene from the anime, which you haven't seen yet. So I can't give too much, but basically it is like one of the hugest combos in the entire game. But if you pull it off, you throw in so much damage. Like I know one player in that group where I play, who every time he manages to pull off this combo, he gets out his phone and plays the Gurren Lagann theme song. Because,
Yes!
Because it's long enough to warrant that.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. It could be the card effect. If you play this, you have to play the music.
That should be a card effect.
That's quite in line with some of the effects.
So, which brings us to the final question for the evening, which is, what kind of card game, if we could create a card game, what kind of card game would that be? I know exactly what I'd say, but I'll let you guys talk first for once.
Okay, I will go first.
Alright.
What I want to try is Fire Emblem Cypher. That's only in Japanese for now. I want to try it because it's Fire Emblem, I like Fire Emblem, and I want to play Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Yes, Fire Emblem. And if they...
I like it too.
Oh,
But,
I misread the question. Amazing.
No, that's fine. It's
So the question is actually what if you could make or if you could try a game that already exists. If you could make one or if you could try a game that's okay, good. So Fire Emblem Cypher, good.
Yes. What I would like to see made is what I like is to mimic what happens in anime with my cards. I like that a lot.
Oh gosh.
Me too.
But man, it's hard. Like I can't talk anymore. What I enjoy especially is when there are specific cards that are in line with an archetype that you play, like key cards that you know should be in your deck.
I can't take the term keycards seriously because of WIXOSS.
Oh, okay. Signature cards.
Okay.
I like using signature cards, and I like to build around signature cards. So I just want to see more of those kind of cards that are kind of iconic for your archetype. That's what I enjoy a lot. So that's why I enjoy WIXOSS, because you have an Eldrig that you need to support.
I think that's pretty cool too. Yeah. Building your deck around one.
Yeah. But I like flashy stuff, and I like knowing how to build with the flashy stuff. And that's why I like Yu-Gi-Oh too, because you grew up with Blue Eyes White Dragons and Dark Magicians, and you can support them.
Yeah.
Yeah. To this day, cool. Blue Eyes White Dragon is a good.
Yeah. Blue Eyes White Dragon is one of the few old cards that is still playable.
I play it in Duel Links, and it works pretty well. So, what I would like to see is, I mean, I like card games of every kind. Yes, just if there is something really cool and epic that you can play, and then you support that card with everything, and you kind of build around different strategies with certain cards. I like that. I don't know what card games to make though, but so long as it has like signature cards, I will probably like it, because I want super powerful cards that you can bring out. It's cool.
Wendy, your turn.
I don't know which card game I'd like to try. I know My Little Pony got a card game itself, and about solving problems from piles of problems that both players has and gaining points through it. For a moment after it released, I got kind of interested, but I'm not anymore, so I don't know what to answer here. Perhaps, yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have any card game that I want to, but I do have a card game that I want to see made, and it's more of a card game that already exists, but I want to see in a certain format. We all know how Duel Links works, that, it takes Yu-Gi-Oh! It uses kind of a speed...
I know where this is going.
Yes.
It uses kind of a speed duel format. It's very character heavy, where all the characters have lines between themselves, and all the thing. I want that for other games. I want that for WIXOSS especially.
Yes.
I want to see, I want to have a game where you can use either character with any Elrig, and both the character and the Elrig have their own lines.
Yes.
Where you can bet the coins, and then they say like they do in the anime, and they have their little animations of going at the other Elrig and kicking them or punching them.
That would be so cool, though. Like really.
Yeah, it really would. It is my dream.
Do it right now. Developers, indie developers, go to a publisher.
Oh man,
sell your souls to them.
I would pay top dollar for that stuff if I had any, but I would.
Please. Crunchyroll, make a game.
I mean, Crunchyroll doesn't own WIXOSS. Takara Tomy does.
I know, but they need to partner with Takara Tomy. They need to sell their souls to Nintendo or whatever, or Sony or whatever.
We should
Bandai Namco.
Honestly, Takara Tomy, like, I get that the reason why they're not branching out with WIXOSS is because they think it's too specific to the Japanese market, but like the thing is...
No!
Yes! I wanted to!
I wanted to. Yeah.
I am so passionate about this happening.
I wanted to. It's a really great game. And like, okay, if you don't want the waifu card game to be in the West for whatever reason, then make a variant of it that appeals more to the Western market. At least the game mechanics are worth seeing the light.
No, I want my waifu card games.
Okay, good. I do too, but not everybody might agree.
Yeah, I wanted to. Everybody here agrees, so that's what's important.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. also, Weiß-Schwarz in this style, please.
Yes, yeah, but all the oh god, we would need so many freaking licenses to make that work. I mean, I would love it. I would love seeing tiny Teddy animations and everything, but like.
Also, can you imagine how many lines would be? It's like looking in the mirror.
I don't care who has to die. No, I'm sorry. I don't care how they do it. Just do it.
Yes.
I mean,
okay, then your turn.
I mean, I guess if Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue was possible, then this should be possible too. Okay.
Super Smash Brothers freaking brought Cloud Strife in.
You can do it.
And Sonic Snake
And Bayonetta.
Sonic and Bayonetta, yeah, and
but
literally everything.
If this got made,
Just
then
do it.
if this got made, then we could beat up Shinji Ikari with a Puyo.
Oh my
No,
god, we need it now.
with Simone. That's what we gotta
God,
do.
yes!
That's to punch some sense into the guy.
Again, I will pay fucking $500.
Destroy Eva Unit 1 using Gurren Lagann.
and then you play Shinji's dad, what's his name?
Gendo.
Gendo, and then you tell Shinji to get into the robot.
But Dad, I'm gonna die!
Shut up and get a robot.
Okay, my turn then. So,
Yes.
as for games I would like to try, I guess Magic the Gathering.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's where it all began, you know? It's a piece of history. And I think I should at
True.
least know how to play it, given that I really, really like trading card games. But somehow, like,
Yeah.
aesthetically it doesn't really interest me.
Yeah,
But
same,
it's so,
same.
But it's so diverse, you know, they put so much different stuff in, and also, it's just, it's where it all started, and I want to know where all of this began.
It is a good game to learn, yeah. I also know it, and I don't actively play it, but it was fun for me to learn it, so yeah. I recommend.
The problem for me was it was so vanilla. It's like the aesthetic is so vanilla. It's like, dude with sword, dude with magic, skeleton.
There are some very bizarre monsters, but yeah, I understand why.
It's like there are no signature monsters. I need those.
I mean, yeah, it is.
What do I look at?
I mean, it is where it all started, and then it kind of all snowballed from there, and now we have a universe of trading cards.
Yeah, it's like grandpapa trading card.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and as for card games I would like to see made, two. Firstly, I came up with an idea for a Persona trading card game, which basically, is like you have character cards, you have item cards, and you have shadow cards, and the shadow cards also double as Persona cards. And basically specific conditions you always have to equip shadow cards to characters, and if specific conditions are fulfilled, they can use them as Personas, but if the conditions are not fulfilled, they are reversed and act as shadows and have detrimental effects to you. That is the idea behind it. And you have, behind you, you have this zone where you can put also character cards as a support, like social links or items. And that is my idea. And in the very back you have a patron, which is like a deity character card. And basically you either have a Velvet Room character or a deity or something like it behind you. And basically your goal is like to take out the opposing patron character, like the one who they are fighting for, who your persona users are fighting for. That's the idea behind it. And I.
By the way,
yes?
By the way, if you want to see more discussions like this, please donate to our Patreon. Because you said patron.
Yeah, man, what are you doing? You have, I mean, yeah, you have to.
Okay, I will sell out now. Please give me money. So I'm selling out complete. No, but honestly, I actually wrote a document where I wrote what this trading card game would be like. And I think the only reason why I haven't really tried to make it yet is because I'm not good at balancing stuff. So
yeah, that's why that's what you leave for the wage slaves to do.
But like it would be really fun, like having a Persona trading card game where you could like have a team consisting of you and Futaba and Tatsuya Suo fighting for Philemon versus a team consisting of Straga fighting for Marie.
Yes, please.
That would be so cool, though.
Honestly, I would take a card game for freaking anything. Like, they can make a card... If they can make a card game of the B-movie and have it be fitting in its mechanics, like, I don't know, maybe if you get attacked, you get to sting someone, but you die in the process, and that's like a mechanic or something. Like, if they can do that, I will be interested. Like, if it has character, it needs to have character that fits the game. That's what I want.
DreamWorks the card game.
Yeah, I mean, if they can make it work, then
yeah,
sure.
But then you do know I would play Buzz Baby against you just to piss you off.
Oh, I will beat the shit out of that baby.
The other trading card idea that I do have, which I would also really... I even have an anime idea to this. Basically, a trading card...
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I even have a title for it. I would call it Divine. Basically, it's a trading card game where every functional deck also doubles as a functional tarot deck. Which means it would be freaking huge because it would have 72 cards. But I would do this so that like Major Arcana and Minor Arcana are separate decks. That's how I would solve that. I keep accidentally recording my male sound on this because I didn't turn it off. I hope it's okay.
I can hear Sartorius from here being yes.
Just as I had predicted.
But yeah, it would be. Every time I play a trading card game out of a deck, I'm like, I kind of wish I could like lay tarot cards with this. And I was like, what if there was a trading card game where you could actually do that, where every playable deck also doubles as a functional tarot deck, and that would have the additional selling point that you would also have a customizable tarot deck. You can build a tarot deck that's exactly as you want it to be. That would be so cool.
I can smell Konami having the weirdest boner right now.
No, Konami, stay away from that. You don't understand my vision.
It's like, we can make money by doing two things at once?
Like, you could make a trading card. I mean, you couldn't make tarot card decks that are built based on robots. You could make tarot cards that are only dragons and dolls.
First, they need to fill out the rest of the Arcana Force, because most of them only exist in the anime, and the rest doesn't even exist anywhere.
Yes, I know.
How dare you, Konami?
I know that's why. That's why, I looked at this in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm like, it's not even complete. We need a trading card game for this now.
If you're gonna do it all the way, damn it.
Yes.
There you go.
But it would be so cool, like, you can decide what is going to be the Empress in your deck, you can decide what is going to be the Emperor in the deck, you can decide what is going to be the World in your deck. Like, you could have a deck that is nothing but dolls, and then suddenly on the World you have a freaking Evangelion unit.
No.
I just really, really want that. Maybe I'll make it one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for 1 hour and 43 minutes. 44 minutes.
Nice.
I think that's a good.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
all we can say is thanks for watching or hearing anyway.
Yeah.
If we should,
There will
we should
be
have said in the
Let me do it.
beginning.
Let me do it.
Don't watch this. I mean, I'm sure we were gonna to put something in the background, but if you want, don't watch this. Just listen to it.
I think it's a little late for this.
Let me handle the outro. Let me handle the outro.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button and hit that subscribe button if you want more videos like this. Also, check out the Patreon in the description below. Thanks for watching.
Wow,
Bye.
that's textbook.
Bye.